Holy shit. We're getting this episode out on time, hopefully. We'll see what happens. Today is the 28th. It is 7:31 p.m. I want to get this out before 10, so I'm kind of rushing through the intro and outro, but we'll see what happens. Good morning. Welcome back to the ALG show. Today we're going to be interviewing EJ Cabasal. He's an actor friend and a podcast producer. In this episode, we get into kind of why he prefers theater over film and television acting, as well as kind of the chemistry that he likes to create and sort of what his creative process looks like, as well as his sort of work as a podcast producer. He produces 2 podcasts called The Meter, which is a game show, and TigerBelly. Unfortunately, I realized that we didn't really get into The Meter a lot in this episode, but I highly, highly, highly recommend that you guys check that one out because it's just a really fun game show type of podcast, and I just love the chemistry between all of the on-screen talent. EJ, bring it back, please. I'm begging you. You haven't uploaded an episode in a while. Bring it back. I'll be number 1 listener every single week or month or however your upload schedule is when you return. EJ is a friend of mine. We met through, as he calls it, the studio cohort. We share a studio space together in Los Angeles, and it's been really interesting kind of to see like his perspective and sort of the work he does as an actor, and you know, because I don't really have, unfortunately, that one-on-one with actors like that. So it's really cool to, number one, be able to meet him and call him a friend, but also to be able to sit down and have this conversation with him. So without any further ado, let's get into it.
Absolutely nothing. Hey everybody, welcome to the ALG show. This is Alex's first actor on the podcast.
Now that I think about it, yeah,
I'm an entertainer in my heart. Mm-hmm. I'm an introvert, and I'm doing nothing with my life.
You're always up to something. I see you in here in the studio.
Yeah, I do things, but I try to keep a humble profile. Nobody knows what I do, not even me.
I do.
You know what I do?
I know your resume.
Yeah, I know. You've been doing research. I walked into the studio to this podcast, and you ambushed me by talking about where I worked when I was 16, where you talked about a concert. You told me that you're going to ask me about a concert that I went to when I was
Weezer concert
in high school.
In 2013.
I did go to a Weezer concert.
It was like concert. A Toyota thing or something, like Toyota venue.
Yeah, I think it was for one of the. It was either the OC State Fair or I think it was the OC Orange County State Fair. It was the Orange County Fair, and they were one of the headliners. And me and a bunch of my friends were huge Weezer fans.
Yeah.
And to this day,
yeah,
truly, one of the most impressive concerts.
Oh, nice.
Like, there are great musicians out there.
Of course,
and then there's a difference when you have a band who is also, aside from being musically excellent, just an excellent showman. And
like
they were
presence.
Yeah, like they were just so fun.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was, and I'm sure they rehearsed all this stuff, but they just
100%.
Did so many things,
yeah.
so many extracurricular things outside of just performing music that, as an actor, I really appreciated.
Yeah, talking about stage presence, how do you feel like because you have like a decent chunk of experience both in theater and, you know, traditional film and television work. I know you prefer theater significantly more. How do you think your stage presence or like performance shifts between theater and film, and why do you favor theater more?
Man, this is so serious. This is not what I thought this pod was going to be. I feel like I'm being interviewed by like young Nardwuar.
I'm not a Fed.
You don't like Nardwuar?
I like Nardwuar.
We need to talk about that.
I love Nardwuar.
You like Nardwuar?
I love Nardwuar.
Tyler just came out with a new album too.
Yeah.
We'll
talk about that later.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay, yeah. So you're asking me about my experience and
like, because you mentioned stage presence, and I know you prefer theater, but you have a pretty decent resume between theater and just like traditional film and television. How does your sort of stage presence or your energy differ from performing in like a theater, in like a play,
Yeah.
versus like acting on like a set
Yeah.
or something?
I love answering this question in this way. They say that television
Mm-hmm.
is the writer's medium. They
Mm-hmm.
say that film is the director's medium, and then they say that theater is the actor's medium. But across each one, there's collaboration.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why I particularly resonate with theater is that, in a sense, after the rehearsal process, after all the notes from producers, directors, writers, whoever, once curtains up, it's all you.
Mm-hmm.
No one's coming to stop the show. No one's coming to save you.
Yeah.
There isn't a second, third, fourth take. It's you're living in the given circumstances in a way that is way more hands off than TV and film.
Yeah.
And because that's the style in which I was introduced to acting in general. I mean, I obviously, as a kid, you watch movies, you watch TV, cartoons, whatever. But as far as me practicing, I didn't start on camera. I started in a school play. I started in drama class, right?
Yeah.
And and I just feel like, as it pertains to stage presence, theater is unmatched. You can't fake it. Oftentimes you're dealing with really intimate rooms, or sometimes you're dealing with like a super large room. So in some ways you're unnaturally projecting your voice. Sometimes you're performing in a way that some people would describe as less naturalistic, because you're kind of you're cheating out in a way. It's even just like your physicality seems a little bit more open.
You're a little more animated.
Yeah, I mean, like when you're collaborating with like a DP, like on some level, you're trusting that they're going to do their best to frame you perspective-wise in a way that's meaningful, flattering, symbolic, whatever to their story. But in theater, it's just we're living in the space together, breathing the same air, and once it's go time, you're just there's no training wheels. And I think I appreciate that more, in the sense that like for some people, the willing suspension of disbelief is easier in TV and film. For me, I think that good theater goes even further for me. On some level, when I'm watching anything on a screen, there's a part of me that can't completely live in that experience. But with theater, you catch all the ticks. You can't hide the way somebody breathes. You can't hide the way that someone leans or sits or turns their head. You can't hide the way that someone's thinking. There's just there's so many more things to absorb in an acting performance when you are in the space than in TV and film, where everything is already kind of curated and edited and so sharp. And I kind of like that it can be messy in theater. And don't get me wrong, like there are performers within theater who are exquisite, so sharp and so specific. So they can make even something that feels messy on their end in the rehearsal process. They've spent countless hours like sharpening and honing to get to that point, I want to say. But so stage presence is something that you can't really fake in the theater.
Definitely.
And and so it's just more gratifying, I want to say. And I don't know, it seems like, so we know each other because we're part of this little
studio
cohort,
crew.
this little studio group.
I like cohort. That's a nice word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was it? Class of 2024.
2024,
right?
yeah.
Studio 410, class of 24.
Yeah.
But
what's been, you mentioned like it being more gratifying. What's been like a really gratifying performance that you've done in theater, where you're like that performance, like
Yeah.
it sticks with you, and you kind of pull
Sure.
techniques from that particular, or what would it be, play? Like what's been a performance that you've really like
Yeah.
gravitated to, that you really like, I nailed that, I
Yeah.
bodied that, like what
Yeah.
is,
So
yeah.
there's a couple that come to mind. I mean, even as early as like high school.
Mhm.
Let's see. So in high school, I I don't want to talk about high school.
That's okay.
Because in high school we're so awful. You're so, which is so, and it's so pure. Like you don't know any better, so you're just
Yeah.
kind of like you're doing anything, everything. Like in high school, I was exposed to like a ton of Shakespeare, and God, that was so long ago. But
Yeah.
there was like these monologue competitions that I got to participate in. That was probably like the first time I really kind of very seriously put in work into some kind of like a performance.
Mhm.
And they were just monologues. But yeah, so the first time, so let's see. I was in this monologue competition when I was like a sophomore in high school at Cal Poly Pomona, and I did an excerpt from some random Shakespeare play. It's not even popular. I think it was King John, where I played this young prince who was imprisoned, and he had just learned that an executioner was coming to basically like burn out his eyes.
Oh.
Yeah, because I think there was some kind of power struggle. The kingdom that he was a part of was sacked.
Yeah.
And so he's just a kid. He's like a teenager. And he basically, upon learning that this executioner is going to gouge out his eyes, he does it. He has this monologue where he basically begs for that to not happen. So I did that. I won.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it was really great.
Yeah.
And then the next year, I was entered again. Did this, and then I won again.
Whoa.
And it was crazy. I was like, "Whoa, back to back!" It felt
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it felt like I had who was like the last back to back NBA champion? I can't even remember. Warriors? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
They didn't three-peat.
Yeah.
But and then I went for the three-peat, and then I couldn't get it. But I just remember that being on stage for those performances was, it just really kind of there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
When you know that you have an audience exactly where you want them. Yeah, and then I feel like through college and then even into my career throughout my 20s, there have been a handful of moments like when I've been able to kind of be in that space. And what stinks is that, you know, this being a collaborative work, like you don't always get to pick and choose the types of projects where you get to do that. And so sometimes like the experience is there's just a lot of gaps in between when you get to really let loose and like perform like that. I would say in college, I was cast as the lead of a new play called Gamers. Scott Barnhart, he was one of the original cast members of Book of Mormon, had written this play, and we worked really closely once he had casted me as the lead. And it was probably one of the last times I was really leaned on to really kind of carry a show. And yeah, and that was a ton of fun. It was like a role that was kind of, it was kind of like I was playing like the male version of like the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. So I was playing like this hyper insulated adult who was like a child in their mind and super naive. And and it was a funny show, and there was just like a lot of really talented actors that were all on the same project. We had a great director, Jeff Maynard, and yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Actually, okay, I know I've been talking for a minute.
Sure.
I would say the most recent gratifying performance, it wasn't even something that was like filmed. It was just in an acting workshop at USC.
Okay.
It was a directing comedy course with Barnett Kellman. He basically got most of his career started in New York in theater, and then also was an Emmy Award winning director for this TV show called Murphy Brown. And he was teaching this class, and he had this reputation of being like this notoriously difficult professor to win over. There were a lot of grad students who had difficulty working with like his style of directing. And he brought me in, or I was in his class once during COVID, and he was so impressed with with our performance and just with the process. A lot of the class was really just watching the actors work with the directors, and so he was so he really enjoyed how I was working with the director, so much so that he put me in this like booklet of recommended actors for future classes.
Oh, wow.
And he would have me come in multiple times, and he was just such a hard person to win over. So I can remember doing a couple scenes where we genuinely got laughter, not just from the class, but from this professor. And I remember thinking to myself, with all of the work that I am not doing, because I certainly am not working that much, it was just kind of gratifying to have like a live performance and scene showing just crush the room and like leave such a strong impression. So
it felt like a breakthrough.
It felt like a refreshing glass of water. Like it felt like I hadn't had water in years.
Okay.
And it was like, oh, I am still, doing something right. In this industry, I feel like when so much of how we measure ourselves is by the amount of work that we do
100%.
as opposed to the quality of work, or even just how much we're getting paid for the work that we do. It can feel existential. It's just like, can I keep calling myself an actor if I'm never acting, if I'm never booking? On some level, it feels like you can't, or you shouldn't. And then to be brought into, this room where there's no stakes, where it's just, we're really going off of the quality of your work, to be able to perform in that way, I think was, it was reassuring, I would say.
That's good.
But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of teetered that line myself of being like, I'm the best cinematographer in the world, to I'm the worst cinematographer ever. I shouldn't be shooting anything. But I think that's such like a normal thing. And then, obviously the internet is a thing, and comparison is just inevitably going to happen whether we, want it to or not. So I think, having moments like that where you had this glass of water, we'll say, because you use that analogy, to have that glass of water, I think is really, literally refreshing, because it's like, it's reassuring that like, oh, okay, I am good at what I do. Even though maybe there have been some distance from the art, but it's good to know that I got it. I'm still keeping sharp in any way that I can. And I imagine, I wanted to go back to gamers.
Sure.
I imagine maybe it felt the same way. Obviously, to my knowledge, it's not that recent, but I imagine it felt the same way. And I'm wondering, like, did you have any like nerves going into that? Because you mentioned it being a lead role.
Yeah. This was 2017.
Okay.
I think we started the rehearsal process in the winter of 2016, and then
Uh-huh.
it went up. And then we even brought it back for an extended run at the Hollywood Fringe. We did like a couple weekends there.
Mm-hmm.
During COVID, we even did like a Zoom reading. So that was like 2020-ish,
Mm-hmm.
late 2020, or actually early 2021, I want to say. But as far as actually, getting up to do a pretty substantial role, no, I don't think I get nervous in that way, because there's so, like, the difference. Okay, you want to know like the key difference between like theater and like TV and film. The rehearsal process
Enlighten me.
the rehearsal process is completely different.
Yeah.
Just the sheer amount of hours and repetition is on another level, which
Yeah.
is such a shame in TV and film.
Yeah.
And is something that I think culture-wise we ought to intentionally push against. I think that I mean, so going back to that professor at USC,
Mm-hmm.
he would say that if you just give me an hour and a half, that would be like invaluable to this production.
Mm-hmm.
Like more than any of the equipment that you can bring me. If you just give me at least an hour and a half, if these actors can spare that, or if production can spare the budget for at least that, your project will be infinitely better for it.
Mm-hmm.
And with theater, you kind of need to do that. You know what I mean? So I mentioned that to make the point that there aren't nerves because in
You've
the
had a
back
lot
of
of
your
prep
mind,
time.
because you're prepared. You can
Yeah.
lean on your preparation.
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
lean and have faith that you have that you've executed before.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily going up for the first time. And so, yeah, I wouldn't say there was any nerves. And for as long as I've been acting, you just kind of build faith in your ability via experience.
Yeah.
And like, you can't necessarily teach hunger or like desire to improve, but I have that,
Yeah. Yeah.
But as far as like the fear and like nerves, I come from a school of performance where all of those emotions become fuel for any given performance.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just show up where you currently are. You don't need to summon a particular feeling. You just trust that where you approach it from on this particular Monday of this particular month of this particular year is going to yield the emotion when presented with the circumstances in front of the other actor, right?
You come as you are.
Yeah, it will come.
Yeah.
It's just like, or one of my favorite sayings is that if you leap, the net will appear, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter where you leap from
Yeah.
as an actor. And sometimes, when you get particular directors or you have like a particularly large ask from a scene, you kind of need to gear up in a certain way. But even so, like, for me as an actor, to know that you are always enough as you are, to show up as you are, yields like so much more in your performance.
Yeah, 100%.
And you'll feel it. And I
Yeah.
think that the right director will pull that out. Like, most of the work is already done in casting. You don't need to keep proving to the director during shooting that you were
100%.
necessarily right for it.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is that constantly happens. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody's going through imposter syndrome in every department,
Yep.
at every level.
Yep.
So and that stinks. But
Yeah.
you know, at some point, like, you just have to trust that you are where you are for a reason, and you just gotta show up and do your thing.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's funny you mentioned that too. I think, like, Ryan Coogler was doing his press kind of recently with like Sinners and stuff, and he was talking about like he was asked the question of like, what's your favorite film that you've ever directed? And it's like, I don't think I have that answer because Fruitvale Station. I think he was like 24 when he directed that. It's like, this was the best thing I could have made at 24 years old, given my circumstances, given my resources, my mentors, so on and so forth. And I try to approach my own stuff with that same mentality, because it's like, I look back at some older things that I did, like in 2021, for example, because that sometimes some producers or some directors will pull that work and be like, I'm looking for this, something like this. And that's huge. But at the same time, it's also like, that's the best thing I could have made then. The product you're going to get now is going to be, I'd argue, a little bit more polished, a little bit more weight to the image because it's more, I've dealt with more, and I think that's every, like what you're saying, it's like every artist in every medium. But talking about prep time, obviously for theater, it's like, I'd argue it's pretty intense because it's a lot of stuff. It's memorizing lines. It's the choreography. It's, hitting the note if you do like musicals. I don't think you do musicals, but like...
I do.
You do?
I did.
What's your musical
I mean, the
experience?
last time I really did a musical was like high school, but...
Yeah. You sing?
But I think I do sing.
Yeah.
I tell people I sing if I need to.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because there is a level of training that I don't think a lot of people appreciate that goes into excellent, like,
100%.
musicals.
Yeah.
That I'm not prepared to say that I'm on the same level as.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, maybe I've sold myself short because I definitely had a lot of fun doing musicals, and
yeah.
I wouldn't say like I was awful, but
Yeah.
but it's just like when you see like really like superb musical theater,
Mm-hmm.
it feels like you're seeing like Olympians or like athletes because they're just like on some crazy shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen a chorus line?
Years ago, but you gotta jog my memory.
So a chorus line is, I think it's Stephen Sondheim. I might be outing myself here by not knowing exactly, but it's I think it's a Sondheim project. Sondheim is the guy who wrote, Into the Woods, Sunday in the Park with George, Company, all kinds of like huge. He's beloved in musical theater in a similar way that like Neil Simon was like the playwright of a generation. He was like, Sondheim was like that voice. But anyway, chorus line, there are these performers who all kind of like do these like individual vignettes, and they all kind of have like their own little songs, stories, monologues, but the level of dancing is through the roof.
Oh yeah.
Like they are just doing like these, they are just performing like at the absolute like highest level, and also singing, and then also just so authentically, performing like sometimes like these really like heart-wrenching monologues and pieces. Like it's just on all cylinders, like they're just crushing it. So I remember seeing a couple of those songs, or even seeing like this behind the scenes like documentary of like the casting of like a chorus line, and I think getting exposed to that like made me sit back and say to myself, oh, I can't do that. Like I'm not at that level.
Yeah.
And I don't think I necessarily am interested in getting to that kind of mastery of like all of dance and all of singing and all of acting would be different, but
you wouldn't want to be in Wicked.
I wouldn't want to be in Wicked.
Yeah. You don't want to be like at
I would love
that,
to be in
like,
Wicked.
That caliber of singer is what I mean.
I just don't think I have that kind of talent.
It's just repeating that exercise, I think.
You're right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I am moving to New York, so you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I just know how much work those people, that class of, performer puts in, and I don't come close to that.
Why do you sell yourself short?
No, I mean I'm just talking like objectively. I don't put in those hours. Like I'm not taking regular voice lessons.
Okay.
I'm not taking dancing classes.
Mhm.
I mean, hell, like I'm not even in an acting workshop right now. But I don't know. I'm hearing myself say that out loud, and if there's anybody who's listening to this thinking like, "F***ing get it," then maybe I should.
I'm listening to you in front of me.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, "Can get it."
Yeah.
Like it's yours.
It costs money, guy.
It does.
Costs money.
It does.
Yeah.
But YouTube University is free, and that's where I learn a lot of stuff. You know, I didn't go to film school.
Yeah.
I found the art naturally.
Yeah.
And if you really want to, I believe if you really want to like learn more about it, you will find a way to do it.
Right.
You
Right.
know, like
And that's the thing
Yeah.
with the whole, the whole skill nurturing that comes with like performance is, it's not so much that it's not so much a learning thing where I'm exposed to it, I learn it, and then I move on. It's more of it's a pragmatic repetition thing, like a basketball player who's putting up shots. Yeah, and so it's like, but that's the thing is just like, I guess on some level I could do vocal exercises every morning or find like open workshops for dance and stuff, but it's just, I think it's just so not a priority for me.
Yeah. I don't know. I think,
and that's why I'm not working.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, I've made it a priority, and we'll get into the studio stuff, but part of it is like, I feel like I have to push forward in here.
Right.
Like I feel like I'm surrounded by like Jedis in their craft, and I have to be better. So I make the time. For example, like I make the time to watch movies, because you're talking about like I'm forgetting the play. I'm so awful, but it's the equivalent of Olympians, and it's the same thing in the cinema for me especially, because I'll go for certain cinematographers, or I'll go in blind for a lot of stuff. Like I just saw Eddington yesterday, and I had no idea who the cinematographer was, but I found out he did Mickey 17. And I was like, oh, I liked that one, and that's why I like the images here as well.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's making time like to go and observe and just let performances rock and let them, you know, see, oh, why do I like this?
Yeah.
And then implement that into my own work. And also another thing I've started to do, again, the pressure of being in the studio is like, I've started to take notes on lectures. Like I'll listen to like hour and a half long, 2 hour long lectures, and I'll take notes. And then it'll take me like 4 or 5 hours of my time, where that would traditionally be like a college class.
Yeah.
I've done it on my own time, and I've done my due diligence in terms of like what certain things are and what certain technical practices are, because ultimately like that's always going to apply to work. And I'm sure maybe you feel the same way in your work in like film and television, where like there's always like smaller budgets to do things, and there's always like less takes we can squeeze into a day. And so like you kind of have to be on, and you always have to be like at the peak of your skill set. And you know, talking about that, I did want to ask you, like, how is your prep time like different in film? Because I understand like it's probably not as much. And do you feel like, something I've heard is like, I feel like you can dig into certain scenes a little bit more and be a little bit more focused.
Yeah.
Like if like you talked about like monologues, like rather than having to focus on or put energy into the monologue itself along with the rest of your performance. For like film and television, you'd have like 2 days maybe you're shooting that scene. Do you feel like it's better to allow yourself to focus on that sort of thing more, or do you prefer the whole practice of like theater?
Yeah, I have my bias, but yeah, I would say I prefer to spend more time, and I'll tell you why. It is common to make discoveries in your performance on like the 10th go. I really mean that. There can be because of the amount of time it takes to really like live with someone and to give dignity to that
Yeah.
character, like as a real organism in a way. Yeah, there are things that just like meeting up with some. Okay, do you know? I forgot the numbers, but have you ever heard the rule about like how long it takes to become truly friends with someone?
Truly friends with someone?
Yeah,
No.
it's something like you have to meet with this person for at least 3 hours, like once every week, for 6 months or something like that. Like 3 hours every 7 days, or every 6 months. It's probably a different set of numbers, but that's what they say it takes for something to go from being, an acquaintance to like a true friend, right?
Yeah.
And now that's subjective, but I use that as I love hearing that, because in a similar way, when you are getting to know a character, we oftentimes don't, even actors don't typically give themselves enough time, not just like reading the script,
getting to know
but
the
using
character.
the words
Yeah.
and standing and performing with another person, where you're able to like make those discoveries, note that for yourself, that's there, or that's an interpretation, or that's like another wrinkle to it. And
Yeah.
then being able to choose from that array of different, I guess, interpretations or expressions for the director. Now, a great director sees all these avenues and knows that their actor can give them any one of those on any given take, right? But the thing is that you, sometimes it's just in the chemistry between a particular actor and that character, where it's easier to go with that actor off of that self-tape or that audition, because they are giving me exactly what I as a director or DP am envisioning for this performance. But what's awesome about theater is you can come in, and on any given day, any given performance, I might give you something completely different, or something very subtly different.
Yeah.
And for the actor, that is a really gratifying thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of trust that goes into what the actor hands over to production to use.
Yeah.
There have been times where I've had takes used that completely surprised me, where I'm like, oh, this is the one that they went
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder what they saw.
Yeah.
And it's awful when it's like, oh yeah, we like this one just because of sound, or because of the light, or because of whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was the performance that you went with, like not this one, or like whatever. But yeah, so I even if on a film set it's more intensive in that we're going to focus on this like one scene for like the next like 2 hours or whatever, I prefer a longer half-life, or like rehearsal time, whatever, a longer lifespan, just no stakes attached. We're going to do this, and being allowed to truly like discover something like different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned like, production sort of pulls stuff as like, oh, this would be an interesting thing. I've had that with my own work, where it's like there's certain takes where I'm like, oh, I nailed that. And even like what you're saying, when you have like the 10th runaround on something, like there'll be times where it's like, at least maybe just in the projects that I'm used to, like max we're looking at like 6 takes, 5-6 takes.
Yeah.
So by the time I get to that like 4th or 5th one, like I've got it and it's cool. But then there's certain, when you look back at like the final cut, whether it's a music video, commercial, whatever it is, they went with the first one. And yeah, I'm wondering like what is it that they're seeing? You know?
I mean, we're guessing.
We're guessing.
We're guessing.
We're guessing. Yeah.
And that's the dirty little secret, is like, that's why I think that choosing who we collaborate with sometimes is more important sometimes than like what we end up capturing, because I think really great artists will are
Can pull it out of you.
they'll pull it out of you, and then
Yeah.
also they have an eye for things that you might not see. So there's just so much
Yeah.
trust that goes into the collaboration,
Yeah.
and you hope that whoever you're working with is like doing their homework and doing their preparation too, and not just
100%.
kind of selecting willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Like any film to me is just like a miracle if
Yeah.
it doesn't f***ing suck. Like if it doesn't f***ing suck, then I'm just like,
100%.
what a miracle
Yeah.
that all that work.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like I feel
Didn't
like
go to
with my lighting, like I try to light as, I don't want to say globally because that's not true. I try to light as out of the way as possible because I find that, again, obviously you have a preference to theater, but I feel like it gives the actor like a chance to like move around in the space and feel it a little bit more.
Give him some range.
Yeah. And I feel like I tend to shoot on longer lenses for that reason also, because like I would rather be out of the way as much as I would love to be in their face to try and get a close up on something. I think sometimes, depending on what it is, it just compromises the performance too much, you know?
Yeah.
And I try to be like as, you know, talking about prep time, obviously, like my prep is a little bit different, but I try to be as prepared for that sort of opportunity, because then the actor and the director are going to talk about something on the day that I'm not thinking of, and that's going to, again, lead into that fourth or fifth take where they're like, all right, I'm sinking my teeth into something, I got a rhythm, let me be out of the way. At the end of the day, I am in service of, I would say, the director and the actor. You know, let me do my thing, let me get my shit off, but you know, let me stay out of the way at the same time. But what was I gonna get into? Do you ever feel like a level of like, because there's a use of a different take, or there's a use of something else that maybe you didn't expect, like maybe you're reading with another actor and they kind of set a line differently, do you feel like in hindsight you compare yourself differently? Like I think I tend to give myself a little bit of grace, because I feel like with the directors or the executives, like on the label or whatever, they have like the best intentions for the project, and I feel like the final product isn't an honest comparison of what I would compare myself to. And obviously it's a little bit different in theater because you're not directly comparing yourself to something, but do you feel like you give yourself grace in that self-critique? Because of how different take 1 is versus take 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the way I save myself from that whole conundrum is I don't watch.
Really?
I try not to.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to edit my own reel, and of course, like, there's morbid curiosity about like how I did, but on some level, it's like I don't have to see it. Like, I hope it looks good.
It does.
I do watch because I kind of have to at this level in my career. Maybe I don't. I don't know. But I'm not particularly interested in watching myself perform. And maybe, I don't know, maybe there's insecurities built into there. I'm sure that, like, name me an actor who is completely secure in themselves, and I doubt. I don't know.
Would want to watch the play-by-play all the time.
But, and I think it's like a common thing for a lot of really fantastic actors to actually be quite shy and introverted when it comes to actually watching their performance, which goes back to what you don't believe about me.
What do I not believe about you?
Before, in our pre-recording, you were talking about how you have all these people on your podcast who you call, introverted crew members, and I'm like, well, congrats, you have an introverted actor coming on, and you're like, no, you're not.
I think maybe that partially comes from, like, again, the studio. I've gotten to know you. Yeah. And you don't strike me as an introvert, like, over time. Even, like, my first impression, like, you were very, like, open. And you weren't like, who the fuck is this guy? Yeah. You know, like, I think you openly embrace everybody here. So that's why I say that I don't believe you're an introvert. Yeah. And I think also partially, maybe it is stereotypical to think that, like, actors are, like, outwardly, like, expressive.
Yeah, I think that comes from actors historically being associated with hungry for some type of attention or
Yeah.
validation. And I think, but here's the thing, I think that you can absolutely have an appetite for that and still be an introvert. I think that just comes from, like, I believe artists on some level, no matter how introverted or shy, want their work to be seen. And I think in that vein, I desire for my work to be seen. Like, the idea of applause is something that I feel like is intrinsic to my desire to perform. Like, it's the handshake.
Yeah.
You know, like, I can't just be performing in a vacuum. The audience has to be there.
Yeah.
But it's because there is an exchange that happens. Like, I am doing this on some level. I'm putting myself through this on some level because it feels like the work requires to be given or seen. On some level, I feel like the greatest artists have to be, I feel like they need to be generous.
Generous how?
Generous in the sense that I am willing to go to this vulnerable place and even through the lens or filter of this character, bear a little bit about who I am through that for you. And that, like, some people can't even have those types of conversations, like, with their own family or friends or real people in their own lives, but they'll do it on stage.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, it takes a certain, like, some people say, like, oh, you got to be courageous. And it's just like, yeah, are we really doing something courageous? Like, I don't know. But are you being generous? And I think you are. You can't withhold those things. Once you get up there, you just understanding what it means to be an entertainer or to put on a performance, like, you have to be willing to give those things up. And so in that sense, I have no fear. Like, I am willing to try and go there for you.
Yeah.
That being said, I can still also know that in my spirit, that I find social interactions, on some level, exhausting. Not that I don't seek them out or that they're not valuable in and of itself. I think they're so important that we are social creatures.
Yeah.
But what people don't see is that you don't see me hibernating right after all of my social interactions.
Yeah.
When I go home and I shut off for days at a time. So that's like the great paradox or tension, I feel like, as a performer, is that I kind of need both.
Yeah.
But
you put the energy into your work, and it's healthier that way.
Yeah.
I feel the same way, because there's definitely some productions where I'm like, it's funny. I think there was one time I was like going through a breakup, and we were gonna shoot this like kind of larger music video that I had done at the time. At the time, for me, it was really large. And rather than having this sort of like imposter syndrome, like introverted type of mentality, I'm just like, you know what? I'm taking it out on the work today, and that's what'll happen. And it reflected. To me, it's one of my, I'll show you after, but to me, it's one of my more, wait, what'd you say?
I don't want to see it.
Fuck you, asshole. To me, it ends up reflecting in the product, because again, you're pouring yourself and you're kind of wearing your heart on your sleeve a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that reflects in, I think it's good to put a bit of yourself into your product, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's an extension of yourself and who you are and the way that you've experienced life. And, you know, talking about, not to talk about my own imposter syndrome, but do you Do you feel that at all? Like
Do I
imposter
feel like an
syndrome?
imposter?
Imposter syndrome towards maybe, when you were a lead with gamers or your lead roles in
Oh.
like microaggression or like warm waters. Like, have you felt any level of like imposter syndrome towards those roles?
Nah.
No?
Nah.
You just know? You got it every time? You
No, of
got it
course
like
not. I
that?
mean, I hope I have high hopes. Like, I hope it turns out great. But
Yeah.
once I'm there, I'm there. You're stuck with me. I'm stuck with you. And
Yeah. It's a marathon.
yeah, whether or not you feel regrets later, that's up to you. I
Yeah.
don't really let that bother me.
That's great.
I have a lot of peace in knowing. So you're talking about Ryan Coogler saying this was the best thing I could have directed at 24
Yeah,
years old.
just as like an example.
In
yeah.
a similar way, this is the best performance I could have given today. I can only ever give my best, and I have so much peace in that.
Mm.
And the thing is like, if I decided, if by some stroke of cosmic luck, I end up with the same material years later, then me doing that same material years later will be completely new, completely different, because I bring with it completely different experiences. And
Yeah.
so for me, it's like not a matter of which one was better. It's always just which one was more honest
Mm.
then.
Yeah.
At that level, like when you're operating like that, if all you need to do is tell the truth, then oh my God, you feel so much more free. I just have to tell the truth.
Mm.
And telling the truth means that you need to be prepared with the material, live with it long enough so that you can authentically stay in that zone when you're performing for as long as possible.
Yeah.
Because you can tell like when an actor is like anticipating or reaching or trying to give the director something that even the director doesn't know what they're looking for. And that's the worst. Like when you have an actor who's now at that point like presenting, like I'm trying to give them this thing or trying to conjure this particular reaction, like
Yeah.
then that's not a great place to be in. And boy, have I been there.
Yeah.
And usually it's when the director isn't. Sometimes they're trying to be polite,
Mm.
At that point, and it's like, oh, we don't want. I hate when people are like, they're so against giving like line readings. It's like breaking.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like so. It's like you're breaking some intergalactic law about like performing and acting and directing by giving like a line read. But it's not so much that I find line readings useful or not. It's more that we should be in pursuit of clarity between your vision and my vision. And if our vision can be aligned, then let's have that dialogue and let's have that conversation. Let's spend time in rehearsal to find that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing is like you giving me a line reading isn't going to be the same as you stepping in front of the camera and doing it yourself.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, like I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
And if your line reading, this might be kind of controversial. Yeah. If your line reading, so rattles me as a performer or so affects my performance, then I might not have been the right actor for the job anyway. If I'm not somehow making it my own, but,
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't really feel like an imposter on that. Maybe it's just, I mean, I think it also just comes with age too.
Yeah. That's true. Like I think about stuff I did like years ago where I'm
and
like,
delusion.
Yep. We've had this conversation.
Yeah, you need to be just fucking crazy if you
Yes.
if you somehow believe that you are going to make it in this stupid industry. You
Yeah.
have to be. You can't think about the statistics. You can't think about how expensive everything is.
I've lost my mind years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny talking about delusion, and we'll get into the mental health aspect of things, but I felt that way about getting into the studio because I had talked with a few friends about like potentially putting some money into a space.
Mm-hmm.
And then this opportunity came up with Red. And I was like, I can't afford this. And Red's like, hey, you need to sign a lease like in 2 weeks. Let me know now. In the next 10 minutes. And I took the leap and the net caught me.
Yeah.
Because I was not able to afford this space when I moved in.
Yeah.
I can now. But
this is really concerning.
It's just blind delusion.
As someone who's on the lease with you, that is so concerning to me.
Have I missed a payment?
Have you?
Have I missed a payment? No.
Me neither.
You will never hear that I've missed a payment. Because through pure...
Did I eat every day? No.
That might be a fact. But but we're here and I've made it work, and I'm really grateful for that, because I've met a lot of really cool people like you and like Red and like everybody who's been in here. Like I've been really blessed to have gotten the privilege to know, and has actively inspired me. And going back to the mental health thing, like I feel less of that like imposter syndrome, because it's like, oh, we're going through the same thing. This is like a normal thing. And you talked about like, you know, putting things into the performance that maybe necessarily you can't talk about like with your family and stuff.
Sure.
It's like, it's the same thing here. Like I feel like I could have just like an honest conversation about like, this is where my life is.
Yeah.
You know, and that's fine. We come as we are, and it's a really cool, yeah, you said cohort, which I thought was interesting.
What did I say?
Cohort.
Yeah, cohort.
You called this a cohort. Yeah. And I think that was... I would have maybe said collective, but collective seems too, like, official. But I like cohort. It's been a nice group of people, and it's reassuring to know that, like, oh, you're going through the same thing as well. And I'm wondering, do you feel a level of, like, reassurance? Like, knowing that, like, we're all in the same boat? Do you feel like you have a hard time navigating your mental health?
No, I mean, it's so... Oh, I mean, my mental health, that's, like, a whole other conversation. But,
yeah.
Yeah, I think that there is a difference between reading about successful people in their dog days, in their early days. Like, there's something reassuring about reading about it, and then there's another thing about living alongside people who are also in those early days, their incubator days, like where they're not quite there yet, and it's like in this awkward phase. Like, I think that living alongside you guys, working alongside you guys, co-working, you know, there's something ineffable about that kind of camaraderie. It's like it's inexplicable. It's just which is another thing about why I again just believe so much in like theater. Is there's a communicative medium, there's something about that medium of actually being in the same space as someone that you can't substitute or replace with anything else.
Yeah.
And so going through it with you guys is like, and seeing you guys week to week or whatever is, it's different. There's a different type of like comfort that comes from that.
Yeah, definitely.
But as far as, you know, like mental health, I mean...
Yeah, do you feel like more at ease, like knowing that we're all in the same boat, or, you know, how do you navigate that conversation?
I guess so, but I still also feel a certain distance from y'all in that, although we are in the same industry, we have different long-term goals. For me, it's like it is performing.
Yeah.
And so there is an itch there that that's just kind of different.
Yeah, 100%.
But I mean, I do feel just like kindred artistic spirits and desires. Like we all desire to produce good work, like on some basic human level. It's like we want to do good work. We want to be able to, you know, eat and live under a roof, and I don't know, like
There's a lot
on those levels, I feel like I feel like I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Just
more
I feel
like, I don't want to say more whole, but like more
sure. Yeah, that's great.
more steady.
Yeah.
It's easy to get in your head about a lot of stuff, but ultimately, like, oh, we're all in the same position.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? Yeah. Like, yeah. Even though, like, again, what you're saying, everybody's end game is different, but yeah, I definitely, like, at least for myself, it's definitely reassured me knowing that, like, well, we're all in this. We've all got
Yeah.
the shit that we're bringing to the table. You know, like, we all have our own problems and circumstance and personal things that, you know, maybe we choose not to share with each other, but we all communally understand that, like, it's rough sometimes,
Yeah.
you know. And I would like to make it known, like, y'all can talk to me whenever. If you don't, talk to a wall. That's fine. Maybe the wall's more productive for you. I've been there. I've done that, right? But, you know, yeah, I think, yeah, the community aspect is, like, cool. Like, I like knowing that we're on the same boat. At least for me, like, it's hard to talk to, like, other cinematographers and, like, not that I feel like it's competition, but it's like there's some gatekeepy type energy with some conversations sometimes. Yeah. Like, I'll talk to certain cinematographers who think they're like Bisal Gaib. Or like they think they're God.
Yeah.
The Messiah, whatever.
Was that a Dune reference?
That was a Dune reference.
Okay.
Thank you very much for understanding that. I know you haven't seen it. You should check it out.
I should.
They're not fully exposing themselves in the way that, like, I think actors do, for example. And there's a little bit
Actors
of, like,
expose themselves?
Well, I mean, you
That's
said it yourself.
inappropriate.
You're more honest.
That's a whole thing, dude.
No,
I don't know if you heard about, like, Epstein. It's like
Okay, that
Just
wasn't where I was
Weinstein.
going. That wasn't where I was going. I meant honest in yourself, in your role.
Got
That's
it.
what I meant. Don't be putting words in my mouth.
sorry.
Okay, but yeah, there's a little bit of, like, gatekeepy, competitive nature to it,
Yeah.
and it's hard to feel like, oh, we're both in this together, because at the end of the day, we are both competing for the same jobs. Sometimes, like, I remember when Nova was free, you know, before they initiated the pro. Are you familiar with Nova? Nova? Are you familiar with Nova?
No.
Nova is basically like a Mandy or like a Staff Me Up, but it's like for crew, essentially. And so I remember I would talk with certain cinematographers, and, like, we'd be talking about, like, jobs that we're kind of bidding for, and we end up finding out that it's the same one. And then neither of us get it because there's some other cinematographer who is more talented, more whatever, could do it cheaper. And yeah, it's hard to feel. You feel sort of alone in those conversations because it's like, okay, what are you doing differently? I imagine it's the same with, like, live castings or live auditions for something.
Oh, yeah.
Where, like, you see someone else go in, they're wearing, like, a hat or something, and you're like, I should have brought a hat or something. Like, there's that live comparison.
Yeah.
And I'm like, knowing this cinematographer's work, again, incredibly talented people, but unfortunately, like, it's put me in a position where I'm kind of, like, comparing myself a lot. And not that I don't wish success on these people. I hope everyone has, you know, their success, their flowers eventually with time. But I think, you know, again, going back to the cohort, it's like, I feel like less alone in that sense of, like, okay, I'm not dealing with these sort of experiences alone, and that, like, you know, it's not a competitive nature, even though we are competing in the same industry. And, you know, there was one moment where we were all working together on a production, and that was really nice. And just to be like, oh, we got the gang together, we got the Avengers together,
Yeah.
and we figured this out. And I think you did phenomenal on that particular project. But
Oh, thanks.
yeah, outside of your work in acting, you mentioned, like, working in comedy a lot.
Yeah.
What's been really, like, has there been anything that you've applied from comedians? I understand, you know, you guys are on a stage, you're performing. You know, what's been something that you've taken away from your experience at, like, TigerBelly, for example?
Yeah. Wait, what's the question?
Like, what's been something you've taken away from, like, working with comedians? Because there's a similar sense of, like, stage presence and performing.
Yeah.
I just mentioned TigerBelly just because that's like the most relevant thing in my mind.
That's a good question. Well, one I would say is, man, so many of these comedians are, they're so bright. Like they're so bright. They might not come out and say like, no one's ever really coming out to say like they're some kind of a genius. But I think when you're around comedy at the highest level, there are certain skills that you just can't teach. A lot of people describe it as just like somebody being fast, somebody being quick, and it's really that, like, you just kind of see these comedians firing, like their creative engines are firing at such a high clip, that as another performer seeing what they're doing, I just have an appreciation for what it takes to kind of like work at that level. Now, a lot of times these are just like open air conversations.
Yeah.
But as far as just like the bits that they shoot off, or even just like how they add to the conversation in a way that's not so stilted or one-sided, but they're really kind of working together to create this idea, this bit, this moment, is really applaudable.
Yeah.
Laudable.
Yeah.
Laudable.
Yeah. Admirable.
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 Yeah, it's really impressive.
Yeah. No, 100%. Do you feel like you try to have that same riff with certain actors that you work with?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Chemistry is a weird thing.
Sorry, that cough just got
That cough looked so bad, right? I feel like chemistry is this fascinating thing, because even if on paper it seems like I would or wouldn't get along with someone,
Yeah.
you can't, like, once you start going, it's just like you can tell if someone is able to like play with you, around you, just like which is why chemistry reads can be so important. You can have a great self-tape, but put them on camera, or put them in a room with that other person, and it's just like, do they actually go? Do they have shared experiences? Do they know where the other person's head is and where they're going with something? And the best people in comedy are so fast. Like, they can just anticipate and know exactly where you're going, and then they'll set you up for that next thing. And I think even pulling away from comedy, just like performing, I think it's so fun when you get in with like another really sensitive and alive actor in the moment, because it feels like on any given run through we might go somewhere completely different with a particular scene, and it's just because they are so. That's like where your creativity comes in, and your own awareness of just your own situational awareness, where you are like emotionally, comes into play. And so being on TigerBelly, like I see these actors, comedians, writers come in, and it is it's a trip. It really is like a complete. It feels like a roller coaster seeing it go. And also kudos to Bobby. If Bobby ever listens to this, he won't. But if Bobby ever listens to this, one of his true strengths, truly, is he is a master of getting anyone to kind of relax into the conversation. And it's because he's so good at disarming people. He's so good at disarming people. He has sometimes like just the funniest ideas, and he's also fearless in the sense of like what he's willing to joke about, and sometimes he'll hit a home run, and sometimes he'll just completely whiff, but that's just kind of like, that's the bargain of like being, that's the deal of being a comedian. That's the gamble.
The gamble. Yeah, there's a lot of risk, and then obviously, yeah, that's interesting. How like there's a little bit of chemistry. There's a little bit of like, what's this person's vibe like?
Yeah.
And you're kind of figuring out like what's a safe thing to joke about, what's not a safe thing to joke about, and it's kind of it is a theater in a way. There's this live give and take for two, not performers necessarily, but it's like comedians trying to comedian each other. Like
To comedian each other? Did you
that
use that as a verb?
That was the
crazy.
wrong. That was the wrong word. But comedians trying to play off each other and make each other laugh, and like maybe there's a competitive sense to that. I don't know. I'm not a comedian, but that's an interesting observation. I would have never like thought of that, like because I don't do anything with comedians.
Yeah.
So that's kind of an interesting.
Yeah. You're so
thing that
cute, dude. You're so cute. I can see you totally thinking, what's my next question? What do I ask?
I have my next question.
You do?
I do.
Can I go to the bathroom?
That wasn't my question, but yeah, you can.
I can?
Yeah, you want to?
Is that going to throw you off?
No, I got my
I'll hold
question
it.
on
It's
lock.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll hold it.
Okay. Are you sure? We can.
No, I really got to pee.
You want to go?
I have to pee so bad.
We can go.
I've needed to pee the last 30 minutes.
We can go.
I think I might have pissed myself just now.
Okay, you want to go? That's fine.
But I want to continue there.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's fine.
I'm so sorry to all of the listeners of this podcast. I don't know how to recover.
That's okay.
So I can go pee?
I can go recover.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Do you-
Oh, my God.
Don't do that.
That was something, dude.
Did you relieve yourself properly?
Huh?
Did you relieve yourself properly?
I exposed myself.
I said
And I
relieve
relieved
yourself.
myself.
Okay.
Yep.
That was kind of quick, actually.
Really? Yeah. I was like really chugging. I was pushing, dude. You know how like have you ever tried to see how far away from the bowl you can stand and still make it like
No.
cleanly? You've never done that? How about this? Have you ever tried to stop midstream and then start and then stop and then
No.
in repetition?
No.
No?
When I gotta go, I gotta
I've heard
go.
that you can like exercise your prostate by doing that. And it's like good for like long-term health.
I believe that, but I've never tried that.
Can you stop midstream?
No.
You can't?
I gotta go.
Have you tried?
No, I've also never
Do you need
tried.
to pee right now?
No. I went before because I thought about it.
Okay, yeah, but like you offered me water and I started drinking water in the pot and so then I had to go do my thing.
I'm glad you relieved yourself before we relieved yourself.
Can I give you some advice?
Sure. Yeah.
Experiment. Just try. Try to stop. This is what's missing in your careers. You're not challenging.
Experimenting.
You're so focused on pushing boundaries and growing within the craft that you're not stopping to smell the metaphorical roses of pissing in various positions and styles.
Yeah, because I need to do that to be
You
a
do.
cinematographer.
You do.
You know what? I'll take your advice. I'll go on a walk,
Yeah.
take some metaphorical roses. I won't do that, but
Why not? Hold on. Why not? What do you stand to lose? I feel like you have so much to gain
It's,
from trying this.
it's not my speed. I don't think I'm
Is this trauma? Is
no.
it trauma related to this?
No, no.
Hey, man, you could do it.
Thanks, man.
Hey, you're number one. You're number one.
Thanks, man.
Your number one needs to be challenged.
I appreciate you saying that.
You're welcome.
Thanks, man. But
All
yeah,
right, what's your next question, guy?
Before you took your restroom break, we were talking about your current work on with TigerBelly and your experiences with, certain comedians and things like that. What is something that you have coming up that you're excited about?
What do I have coming up that I'm excited about? Tons of things. Right now,
Maybe within acting, maybe outside of acting. What's
yeah,
something that you're excited about?
Cool. Well, if there are any struggling actors out there who want to know from another struggling actor what a struggling actor has to look forward to, I have some things for you to hear. One of those things, I have a pal who is a talented director. He's a talented writer. He just finished writing a short that we're going to be shooting as a pilot. I think we're going to be shooting at the end of September. He wrote a role for me. I read for them and did a chemistry read.
Exciting.
2 months ago. And we'll be shooting that soon. So that's kind of exciting. I have the script, and the producers are now, I think we're meeting over the next couple of weeks to just kind of like talk and like prep for the shoot. And then we're going to start rehearsals maybe like next month. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, I am going to be moving. That's a life thing.
That's a life thing.
Yeah, the life thing. I am moving across the U.S. to New York City. So that's exciting. And before that, I'm hoping to produce and shoot some scenes to update my reel. Because if there's anyone who's listening to this right now who's on my website, just know that everything there is very bad. Very bad. Maybe not very bad, but it's just not, I don't think it's very helpful or representative of the type of actor that I am. So I'm hoping to shoot some stuff with some friends, some pals, pull some favors from some talented people who want to work with some strong actors and who want to work within narrative. So I'm hoping to shoot those before I move. And yeah. You can catch me on TigerBelly in the background, being roasted by Bobby or smiling during the commercial ad reads, the sponsored ad reads. You can see me in the back. Yeah, that's all I got, man.
All right, that concludes today's episode of the ALG show. EJ is definitely like a really fun personality. I've come to learn, and he's also just in general like a good friend. I feel like every time we see each other in the studio, it's always good vibes, good energy, and is someone who actively inspires me, along with everybody else in the studio. We've kind of moved through people in the lease, and there's some consistent people as well, but he's definitely one of those people where I'm like, ooh, that's sick. I love what you're doing. Yeah. And I just want to like root for him all the time, and everything he puts out, I'm like, oh my God, this is insane. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. I definitely had a really fun time recording it. I'm sure. I hope it comes across. I really enjoy every episode that I do, and I really try to put an intention with who I bring and the questions I ask and all that sort of stuff. So I hope you really enjoyed. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.